Okay, let's do this thing.
You think?
No, I don't think. Let's do it.
But why?
Thinking is overrated.
For whom?
Let's imagine. Do you see the world that is around us?
Yes.
So
Just
thinking is optional. People are just
just say
blindly
that.
going to their lives.
Just say that it was a long day and that you want to go to sleep.
I'm going to go with. It was a long day. Then I went to sleep. Then I woke up to film this thing.
Well, all the better for you. Sorry.
But then the thing is that I got this amazing mic from you,
Mm-hmm.
so I hope that everybody can hear me, and at the same time I can do whatever I want with the hands and with moving around, and it actually makes me happy. Now let's talk and dive into the theme of today's podcast. Please roll the intro.
Okay, Mr. Secretive, what are we talking about?
So, but you know what we are talking about. The thing is that I wanted to do a pre-summer, we are going to work from a home, from afar, from seaside, from wherever we are going to be.
Distant, unavailable island.
Yes. So basically, I wanted to touch base on what is the minimum viable amount of equipment that you need to or you can take with you to consider yourself prepared for remote work.
Remote work. So that's the top. Okay.
Because I wanted to make sure that we are talking about two different things. First, we need to talk about the amount of work that everybody does during the summer, which is, from my perspective, minimal. Although people claim that they're doing a lot,
Okay.
and I think that we should stop kidding ourselves, and we should stop pretending and saying that we are working, because we are not. It's much easier to just say, "Okay, I give up. I'm not going to do anything," than telling people that and to pretend that you're working. So and then accomplishing nothing. This is one thing, and the other thing is that if you actually plan to work on something, what is the minimal amount of equipment that you can actually go and take with yourself? Because let me just set the stage for you. I was talking to a colleague of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and his idea of traveling is that he needs to be traveling extremely light.
Okay.
And by extremely light, I mean that I recommended him that he buys a decent refurbished laptop, something like, I don't know, an X1 Generation 3 or Generation 4, or a Yoga, or I don't know, some small Dell, or some small HP, whatever. And he said that he wants to travel so light that he doesn't like anything that is over 1 kilo,
Okay.
and he wants this thing to be cheap.
Cool.
Okay, his first try was Surface,
Okay.
and we agreed quickly that whatever he's thinking about cheap is not applicable to Surfaces.
Mm-hmm.
Then, for some reason or the other, he decided that he likes the one of the devices that are okay. Let's make a quick sidetrack here, and just say that there is a tension here. Um, there is a subset of Chinese manufacturers that even I am unable to cope with.
Okay.
So I have a big problem when it comes to equipment that is too cheap to be believable.
Okay.
So when somebody is offering me a laptop that is new and under $200,
Mm-hmm.
with a screen, with a touch screen, with Windows 11, with 12 gigabytes of RAM, with whatever, there is no way that this thing is going to work. So he kept sending me different versions of N150 powered laptops and tabletops and
Whatnot?
tablet PCs and pads and whatever not. And I kept telling him, no, if you want to actually buy a thing that is going to work, you need to go with something that actually has a chip in it. You need a processor that is capable of doing something. So either go all the way and try to find a tablet that's going to be completely powered by Chinese chips. That way you don't know what you're going to get, but at least you're not getting an N100 chip from Intel.
Mm-hmm.
That is a two-core chip, just to make sure that we're on the same page. And the other thing was then to either go and understand that he needs an iPad or he needs a small laptop. There is no
Mm-hmm.
in between. There is no currently a device that is 800 grams that is capable of having a keyboard that is both quick and has a normal screen and can be used for everyday work.
Okay.
So this got me thinking, and I actually came to the same conclusion as probably you did. Because when we were dealing with last time you were packing, you asked me what laptops did they bring with me,
Mm-hmm.
and we both decided on bringing two different platforms, not only two different laptops.
Mm-hmm.
When I was last traveling, I had three devices with me. I had the Windows laptop, which was a elite book, a
Mm-hmm.
small elite book. I had the MacBook Air,
Mm-hmm.
and I had my iPad.
Mm-hmm.
The reason is that I wanted to be able to actually work in Windows. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be able to stream and do different things utilizing the long battery life on the MacBook.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be able to use iPad both as a device to note on because it has a pen, and also a device that can be used as a separate screen for my MacBook, so I can work on two monitors.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this thing works. The weight is a little bit of a problem there
Mm-hmm.
because then we are dealing with something like 4 kilos of equipment when it comes just to laptops and screens. But I think that if you want to strike, okay, this is not a balance, to be completely honest. If I wanted to strike a balance between portability and usability, I would just get my MacBook with me. But
Mm-hmm.
if I want to strike a balance between flexibility and performance, which I need on the while I'm working and while I'm away, and the portability of the thing, it actually makes sense.
Okay.
The only thing that I changed is that I actually got the adapter that was capable of powering everything all at once.
Mm-hmm.
So the unfortunate one that we both got, and yours got broken, and nobody could fix it. And
Mm-hmm.
the other one was mine was actually working. So I decided that this is going to be the adapter. So I'm not taking additional adapters with me.
Okay.
But I must
Reasonable.
say that things that were outside of this package actually were a problem because I had to take at least three cables for powering the devices.
Mm-hmm.
I had to take one cable to be able to top up and power my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Then, since we are both working and we wanted to have our microphones with us, I had to take the Rhodes with me. So the wireless goes had to go. So three additional devices, at least two additional cables.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up with something like 9 or 10 USB cables of different sizes and different plugs, just to be able to power all of those things. This is one thing. The other thing is that I had to, or I wanted to take a small stand for the camera because I
Mm-hmm.
want to had the camera with me. So one additional thing, and I'm just going to say that all of those things actually make sense. But the worst thing was the phone stand.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because it is hardest to pack.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else would fit inside my backpack, so no problems there. but the stand itself has quite a few of rough edges. So I had to pack it so it doesn't stick out, it doesn't break any screen, it doesn't do any damage to anything inside the backpack. So this is my minimum required devices that I had to take with me. I understand that this is not a recommendation that anybody would simply go with, but I think that from perspective of somebody who needs to do some teaching, remote work, and so on, being able to actually use the headphones to hear things, being able to use an external microphone to be heard, being able to use two different devices so I can actually stream and then both work and stream at the same time was
Hmm.
actually beneficial. Now,
Okay.
let's talk about you.
My situation would be a little bit different. Let's kind of split that into two scenarios. One is a, let's say, some kind of a business trip that requires me to have certain things with me, and the second would be, let's say, some kind of a remote work, because those two things for me would be vastly different. Now, those two situations, if we are talking about our recent activities, for let's say safety reasons, and I'm not talking about some kind of a physical safety, whatnot, for educational safety reasons, I carried my Lenovo with a complete classroom setup with me. Reason being that I wanted to have something handy if something breaks down, so that I can always do something with a laptop that sits next to me. But I did one terrible mistake when I was uh, designing the process, which was that the Lenovo that I took did not have an HDMI output. And that's a huge problem nowadays. So, yes, I'm going to be a little bit smarter in the future. I have a selection of USB to HDMI and whatnot adapters, so that problem shouldn't be a problem anymore. Or I should have just taken the micro display port to HDMI cable, which I unfortunately forgot. So I took a laptop which basically sat there like a dead weight for nothing. I was able to do everything without it. If this was a situation in which I traveled, let's say, to the seaside to do some remote work or some scenario like that, doesn't have to be a seaside, then the laptop that I was talking about multiple times in the show, which was that Asus VivoBook with Snapdragon, would basically be the solution for all of my requirements, bar one thing. It has certain issues with some of the VPN clients. Although there are native VPN clients for the stuff that I'm using, they're still not working very well. And there are some issues there which created some challenges for me, but I was able to kind of go around that a little bit with a little bit of help from my friends at work and whatnot. But I was still not able, for example, to connect to home. In terms of everything else, I also carried a spare camera, the same one as you did, so the small OBSBot. I carried a set of Rhodes, which I had to use for a while because I had a whole bunch of remote meetings to do, and it's just much more pleasant with this setup because I can move around. I can go to the kitchen, get myself some water, or the human stuff. I also had I carried one of the smaller U green adapters for charging purposes, but I also left I also took the older Anchor one, which has four USB outputs strictly for Rhodes, for the Rode microphones that we use, and for nothing else. I left them overnight to be recharged, although it was too much. I mean, these microphones can easily do more than one whole working day of talking, like for 6 hours or so, without wasting the whole charge. And and that's one of the side effects of using the Go 2 version, is the fact that you have two transmitters, which means that you can easily double the battery life. You can just reconnect this, turn it on in 2 seconds, and you can continue. Even if the battery for the of the one that you use drops dead, it is a quick solution to the problem. But I also had something like 9 or 10 USB cables with me, which is, let's say, not ideal in various different for various different reasons. Some of them, this is something that we discussed in one of the previous episodes. Some of them are really good for charging, but they're slow for data. That's a huge fashion statement nowadays. You know, you have PD whatever, but it's USB 2 cable and some stuff like that. And some of them were. I had a couple of 2x2 cables, couple of Thunderbolt cables, just to make sure that I have everything, all of my bases covered. Otherwise, it would have probably be much more of a problem for certain scenarios that I could have ended up with, because I had, again, a whole bunch of remote Teams meetings to do, and it's just much more pleasant to do it with this and with a decent camera. That being said, that kind of a, let's say, stack of equipment. So one laptop, because I did take this Snapdragon with me. I did not use a regular Windows laptop, which turned out to be a mistake for VPN reasons, but everything else was better. The cameras, the wireless goes, the cables that I used, and one of the Yugin adapters that I had were plenty enough for me to handle everything. And I did carry my iPad just like you did. I don't use it as a screen extension anymore. I used to do that a lot, even on PC. But nowadays, you know how I'm using it. I'm using it as a whiteboard. This is accessible via wireless, so I can just use a web browser on my laptop where I'm delivering a meeting from, or a course or whatever it is, easily. So that part of the problem solved.
Okay, but I want to say one thing because I was thinking while we were talking, I was thinking about that my idea of what I'm taking with me usually changes not based on how long I'm going to stay or what I need to do while I'm there, but on the mode of transportation. In
Hmm.
this particular case, I wanted everything to fit in
Backpack.
one backpack. And usually, when I'm using my car, so if I'm going somewhere with my car, I usually do a huge overkill and get at least one additional laptop.
Yes.
And usually, the reason is one of those first world problems solver reasons, and this is to have a second screen that is bigger
Hmm.
because I like to bring my 15-inch Lenovo, which is old, P51, but it has a lot of disk space. It has a lot of memory. It is an old laptop, but it works magnificently, and it has a nice keyboard, and it's nice to work with.
Hmm.
So if I want to have a second laptop or third laptop in this particular case, it makes sense. But the other thing that I wanted to mention, and the other thing that is probably one of those important things, is the software part, because when you mentioned that you have a problem with VPNs,
Hmm.
I must say that the um amount of dependence that we have on different VPNs and different networking protocols that are used right now has started to become a problem,
Hmm.
because you cannot be completely sure that you are going to be able to get broadband internet.
Hmm.
And by broadband, we are no longer talking about 2, 3, 4, 6 megabits. We are
Hmm.
talking that we need at least 10 to 20 to be able to function. This is one thing. And the other thing is that we are dependent on providers that we are using when we are away to let us actually connect through the VPN.
Hmm.
So it has increasingly become a problem for me that the ISPs that I'm using, my native provider and so on, have started blocking certain ports, certain protocols, certain. Um,
Yeah, IPsec is a huge problem.
yes, yes. So the problem is that I'm usually unable to use the VPN normally, and what I then do is I usually tend to leave my home computer open
Hmm.
and powered on, and then I remote to it using Splashtop or the
Anydesk
VNC or
or
whatever,
something. Yeah.
a number of protocols, and then I directly connect from it to wherever I need to be. Which then becomes a problem because I have three monitors on my home computer.
That's a problem and not a problem at the same time.
But the thing is that VPNs, as you rightfully said, have become a problem because every single person that I'm working with requires me to have a separate VPN.
Hmm.
So having a 40, both with Cisco, both with Palo Alto, both with AnyDesk, both with
OpenVPN.
WireGuard, Tailscale, and I probably forgot OpenVPN. Yes, uh, is not beneficial when it comes to actually having a computer that works.
I would have a solution for that problem for you, but it wouldn't work for me because you almost always carry an x86 laptop with you, Intel slash AMD. I don't, and that's the problem because on that laptop, the second side effect of using it, I cannot have VMs.
Yes, I know.
And if I took the x86 laptop with me, then I have VMs for completely isolated VMs for all of my partners that I can connect from. That would be no issue whatsoever. So I'm thinking that I'm going to have to put in a little bit more effort into trying to configure some of the VPN related stuff that is bothering me right now on my Snapdragon laptop. If that works, all is well. I'm going to have to switch most of them to SSL VPNs because IPsec VPNs just plain don't work. ISP based connections or mobile provider based networks, nothing works. At least you cannot really depend on it that is going to work. So that's reason enough. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to have to actually buy myself a new x86 laptop, which I'm not looking forward to.
But the thing is that this is the main reason that all my x86 laptops that I use have 64 gigs of RAM.
Hmm.
Uh, and this is the only reason, because when it comes to disk space today, more or less NVMe's are not that expensive anymore. A terabyte of NVMe is pretty much plenty more than enough to for whatever. Yes.
8 terabytes.
Yes, okay, but it's plenty enough for everything that we need to do. Now the only limiting thing on the laptop right now is the memory. So what I do is I usually go and buy a refurbished laptop because it makes sense, especially for
Hmm.
this particular use case, and then just get additional memory into it. And since the memory by itself is cheap, and the older memory is even cheaper. Uh, you can just upgrade it for what, 70 euros or 80 euros, and
This is an excellent standpoint that you or a point that you just made, which pisses me off to no end. Basically, new laptops upgrade memory, forget about it.
yes, I know, and this is a huge problem because the laptops have become, due to reasons that make sense from the architecture perspective. They started making the upgrade process completely impossible. So Macs are completely impossible to upgrade because the memory itself is on the chip itself. So there is no way to actually change the memory. x86 laptops decided that if they are going to be upgradable, they are going to be upgradable by a single SIM only. So
That's if you're lucky.
yes, and this if they are upgradable, or in the best case scenario, you are going to have to upgrade the entirety of the memory because you are going to have the memory in one slot, and this is going to be the only slot in the laptop.
Hmm.
Which, okay, on the other hand, this also plays extremely nice with having multiple channel processors, but this is a story for another day. But the thing is that we have, as with everything else, we have decided that mediocrity is going to be the way to go.
Hmm.
So the vendors decide what we need, what is enough for us, and it is hard to be outside of that bubble. And the price to pay if you want to have an upgradable laptop and to have a laptop that is going to be, let's say, a decent spec for what we are doing,
Hmm.
is enormous.
Hmm.
It can actually mean doubling the price.
My next problem with this the topic that we're discussing, which is actually applicable to both of the use cases that I mentioned. So, traveling, doing some work or to do presentations or whatever, versus let's say going to vacation and then doing a little bit of work, whichever the use case is. Nowadays with laptops, and it's becoming even, more and more prevalent with desktops as well. There is just no way around having at least one Thunderbolt dock.
Yes, Thunderbolt and HDMI are both becoming a problem. The problem is either with HDMI not being present. I came to realize that this is for some of the things, for basically copyright reasons, because the vendors need to pay for the HDMI to be installed. You know that.
Hmm.
So they are avoiding it. They're either going the analog way, or much more in the last couple of years, much more common is the DisplayPort,
Hmm.
and both of those have their own problems.
Hmm.
Uh, and the other thing is that when I think about a laptop, I don't want my laptop to be uh, a complete device that does everything, but I expect my laptop to be extendable,
Hmm.
not upgradable, extendable. So a Thunderbolt port, I expect a Thunderbolt port, display port, a USB port, another USB port, USB-C port. I want
Hmm.
all the ports to be available.
Hmm.
I despise the idea of having only two USB-Cs or
Hmm.
even one USB-C, and then saying, okay, this is going to be the port to do it all.
Well, that's why you have your MacBook.
Even the MacBook, uh, they decided that one port is not going to be enough.
No, but you have Air, which means you have a couple of ports at best.
Yes, that's it. So
Hmm.
you have a couple of ports,
Hmm.
specifically two.
Yes, and no HDMI, no micro SD, no nothing.
No connector for anything else other than the USB-C.
Hmm.
And this is why I need to bring my hub, and then I need to have an external hub for it. But on the other hand, I think that if you have to go that way, this is the best way to go, because what actually you can do then is to have your hub always with you, so you cannot forget to get your HDMI connector.
Hmm.
Because I have to have my HDMI connector on my hub, so I'm going to get connected either way.
Yeah, in my use case, it was impossible because the other laptop where I needed the HDMI output, which had micro display port output, only had USB.
Okay,
So I didn't take the USB to something adapter with me, which was my mistake.
I'm using the USB-C hub, and it makes sense.
The
But
the laptop, the Lenovo that I have doesn't have USB C.
okay, okay, this is fine, and this is one of those things that actually make it is basically the same as it is with you and motherboards.
Yeah.
I have a distinct hatred for the configuration of ports on laptops nowadays.
Okay.
And I think that the worst thing is that I still remember the extension ports that had the old Toshibas had.
Hmm.
And I know that everything is possible when you put your mind into it. Even having an integrated remote control that could be popped out and then used to control the PC.
Or here is a very difficult topic, or perhaps a network card.
The network cards are a specific problem. The network cards can become a specific problem, especially when you need to do something like, I don't know, actually use your laptop to create a lab environment, because suddenly you have a problem because there is no way for you to connect to a switch.
Hmm.
And this is increasingly annoying me, also because we have those I think it's TP-Link drive cards that we are using.
Hmm.
But I tried to use a newer network card a couple of weeks ago, and they straight down don't work.
The what doesn't work?
They don't work, the network cards. So I
Okay.
was using it was a D-Link or something. The driver itself is so unstable that it doesn't work.
I just did a little bit of shopping on Amazon and bought myself two USB-C to 2.5G Ethernet cards. Haven't tested them yet, but I will because I need them at home for something as well. So yeah, I've been in that situation many, many times in the past couple of years.
I'm going to jokingly say that there you go again with your fourth of a standard. Uh, trying to connect to unstandard speeds.
What can I do? I just got a 2 gigabit internet access a couple of weeks ago, and the router that I have has 2.5G uplink. What can I do? There's absolutely nothing that I can do. Nothing else that I could do.
Okay, okay, I understand the pain. I understand the
Yeah,
pain. So
I bought this, two 2.5G switches as well.
those are cheap.
No, they are not.
Yeah, yes, it's you can buy them under 600 euros, so it's cheap.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Nice way to joke with people who don't have money. That's what you need to represent.
But no, the thing is that the networking is in a strange place right now, and this strange place is that a lot of ISPs are starting to sell basically completely unusable speeds. By
Hmm.
unusable, I mean speeds that most of the people cannot achieve in any way or form. Simply because if you have a 2G connection to the internet,
Hmm.
the only way to use it is to have 2.5G copper connection
Or five or 10,
or
but
fiber.
that's the problem. There are no, to my knowledge, I was trying to search for those to have a 10G switch that has 2.5 connectivity as well, so like compatibility. Yeah, I don't want to go that way.
Yes, I think that then you need to go to AliExpress and see what's available.
Yes, basically just that.
But this is the only, and this is the thing that we should be creating an episode on. I'm just going to do a quick transgression to that part and say that um, what Chinese manufacturers are extremely good at is creating every possible combination and every possible connector on the same thing and every possible standard on, at the same time. And sometimes this actually makes sense. In the networking world, having a switch that is both 2.5G, 10G, 1G, fiber or SFTP or and UTP capable makes sense.
Hmm.
You don't need that many ports. You just need a place to plug in everything all at once.
Hmm.
And this is something that is missing when it comes to mainstream vendors.
Yep. You know what else? I kind of went back in time a little bit to a time when I used to carry extra wireless equipment with me. For reasons passing understanding, sometimes the wireless connections in places where we go not necessarily very good, and sometimes having some kind of a I'm going to use a metaphor, a wireless repeater makes sense.
Yes, I used to take with me the Alpha USB adapter,
Hmm.
the one with the AC with four antennas and everything else. But the thing is that I stopped doing that for the simple reason of I didn't like the mess it necessitates, while at the same time I wasn't using it that much. But on the other hand, when I'm traveling inside Croatia or inside EU, I usually have a VLAN for a 5G dongle, so I can actually plug in my SIM card in it and start using it as a local wireless network. Simply because my phone itself is uh, in my own subscription. I have something like 160 gigabytes of traffic,
Hmm.
so I can actually use my phone as a separate thing. But with the invention of eSIM
Yeah.
and with the capability of eSIM to be just turned on and turned off on a whim, I think that the time when I wanted to use a dedicated 5G device is gone,
Okay. I
because
completely agree.
I actually need, I pretty like what has happened with the eSIM community and the idea of being able to go somewhere and to have a cheap internet option in a couple of seconds, basically.
Yeah, upon your advice, I did the same thing when I traveled. It worked well the next day after I procured it. And actually, for the episode that we recorded last week, if I didn't have that eSIM and I was connected via the mobile phone, that episode would never happen.
Yes, but the thing is that if we are coming to a point where having the device with you is carrying the same weight as having the enough bandwidth with you,
Hmm.
and
I was
this is
very, very worried about that, but luckily it was for nothing because I had plenty of bandwidth available.
because it's both convenient and useful.
Hmm.
And the usefulness is the thing that actually bothers me, because what I want to have is the it's on by usefulness. I mean this. When I'm traveling, especially when I'm traveling somewhere where I don't have roaming included.
Hmm.
Fortunately, being in EU means this means basically only a couple of places. But the thing is that I expect to have my connectivity 24/7.
Hmm.
I expect to have my at least my WhatsApp or Viber or whatever to be able to actually place calls to people, and this requires me to have a stable at least 4G line connected. And eSIM is managing to do this, and I see that there is a huge market for the eSIMs.
Hmm.
Also, I'm going to travel to UK in a couple of weeks, and I was looking and browsing through the eSIM market for the UK, and I must say that the difference in pricing when it comes to local connectivity, especially in
Hmm.
UK, is enormous.
Two things. I traveled to UK way more times than you did for business reasons, so I can give you two pieces of advice on this, and feel free to test them if you want to. Thing number one: as soon as you land on Heathrow or whatever Gatwick, doesn't really matter. Heathrow, let's use it as an example. When you get to the conveyor belt part, so right before you exit, always you have the machines with drinks and with eSIMs. Okay, don't buy them there unless you absolutely have to. That's the first thing. The
No,
second
no,
thing,
I already solved this problem because I went through the local operators, and all of them have eSIMs that I can buy from here.
exactly. The
So I
second,
don't need to do anything on the site. And as a side note, and you know this, and I'm going to just underline the I think that everybody needs to know: do not buy anything at the airport.
there is a second thing, and this one is much more hurtful. You're going to UK. You're going to, for example, London. Um Mobile networks in terms of data in London, in all of my experience, always sucked.
Yes, I know.
It's basically somewhere in between 3 and 4G. Never, ever, ever was I able to get 5G, and 4G connections dropped on me constantly. The data transfer was shaky at best. So yeah, this is something that never worked for me. And I remember doing some online exams which required internet connectivity via my mobile phone, which I bought for that, and getting disconnected and failing the exam because of it. But story for another day.
No, but the thing is that this is also a thing that we should be covering in one of the episodes later on in the episode series. And this is the idea of having uh, always available 5G network is something that is specific to Croatia and some other countries
Hmm.
because we are relatively small.
Okay.
And when it comes to network speeds, we are becoming advanced much more than the countries that have a huge population, specifically UK. Specifically, I'm not going to even include United States because United States have dreadful networking speeds when compared to what is available in Europe. But I
Hmm.
must say that both in Germany, in Austria, in Slovenia, and in all the countries in between and around them, I have noticed that usually the speed itself is much better when you go outside of the bigger cities.
Yes.
because they need to cover the population. And when you suddenly lose the density of the population, you can increase the speeds. So
Hmm.
the thing is that I had much better luck with, for example, I had much better luck with 5G connectivity in Austria when I went basically completely to the into some smaller villages than when I was in Vienna or whatever.
Yeah. Same experience. Yeah, we actually, in a sense, to confirm what you just said, we here locally in Zagreb, in Croatia, our internet speeds in mobile are like insanely faster than anywhere else where I've been in the past 5, 6, 7 years.
Yes, we don't understand that we are on the. I'm not going to say on the pinnacle, but this is one of those things that are actually advancing so fast here because we are small enough.
Yep.
Right now, I'm getting another fiber optic line connected to my house because I want to have a failover, and I got it for a pretty decent price. And I was talking to my colleague from the United States about it, and he cannot understand why he's paying. So basically, I'm going to have two connections, and they're going to be something like 41 or 42 euros combined
Mm-hmm.
for unlimited bandwidth, two times 1G. He's paying something like $67 for 200 megabits,
Mm-hmm.
and he's on cable.
Oh Lord.
So it comes with a latency that is insane, something like 70 milliseconds or
Yeah,
whatever.
and shared infrastructure when somebody
Shared
starts.
infrastructure, but huge latency, and so on and so on. So
Yeah.
he doesn't understand how can it be that I'm getting more or less 10 times the speed that he has for two-thirds of the price.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what is important here. But when it comes to traveling, the next thing that I expect, and I think that this is going to become a norm pretty quickly, is that the next thing that is going to be connected directly to the internet provider is going to be your car.
Okay.
Because I can see that the accessory in most of the cars is going to become something that is going to be a local access point, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that this is already a law here because the emergency SIM needs to be installed in every new car. You know that.
Mm-hmm. Heard something about this one.
Yeah. So from the last year, every new car, or from 2023, every new car has to have the SIM installed. So it has to be able to actually report the crash and everything else.
Okay.
So, and I'm seeing that this is going to just become another accessory in the car. So you're just going to have a local access point that is going to be providing you the access for the car. I know all the Audis basically have this, and the reason why I know this is because since I have the equipment available, I can see that all the Audi drivers in my street have the access points enabled.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to go up to that point and say that I have seen a lot of Audi cars in my neighborhood enabled with wireless
Yeah,
adapters.
my doesn't have a built-in one, but I used to have a mobile router, small one, very small one, via USB connected to the 12-volt charger in the car. So basically, mobile data, the connectivity with the wireless, of course, hidden SSID, whatnot. I used to have that for years, even in my previous car, which I sold 7 years ago or whatever it was.
Now the thing is that the connectivity itself is something that we cannot take with us usually, but is one of the bigger things that we need when we are traveling now.
Hmm.
Um, since I will say that with everything that we mentioned, all the equipment, all the gear, whatever, uh, usually if you have enough bandwidth, every problem can be solved.
Yeah,
You
That's
can.
a, that's exactly true because uploading an episode can be very challenging task when you're traveling abroad.
Yes,
Metaphorically speaking, exchange that for whatever type of upload job you need to do.
but it's not only that. To come to the back to the beginning, you mentioned that you had a problem with the VPN.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to be able to solve this problem by using my own home computer as a VPN endpoint, it's possible, but I need
Mm-hmm.
to have a much better network to be able to do the video connection to my local computer, so VNC or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be a bigger problem than the VPN itself if the network
Mm-hmm.
is incapable of doing it. Okay, okay, then let's wrap this thing up. I think that we have talked enough about traveling and trying to make things better. Let's before we end, I think that we could do some useful things.
Okay.
Let's just
What
exchange
what did
quickly.
you have in mind? I'm eager
No, no,
to
no, no,
know.
no. The thing is that you actually were on the on the right track, and maybe we should have started with this thing, the traveling tips,
Okay.
because the traveling tips have changed in the last couple of years. The when we are traveling, okay, EU. Um, we have become part of the monetary union, so we have euro here in Croatia. It's basically the same currency as in most of the Europe. So Europe itself is not a problem. When you're traveling outside of EU, I have found that the using the Revolut or
Mm-hmm.
some similar service, but Revolut in particular, actually makes sense because it is a one-stop shop. Although somebody told me that Revolut is pretty expensive. I will go with yes if you are not interested in trying to find other options. Yes, it is expensive, but not as expensive as incumbent options that were available before. For
Okay.
example, getting the money is on Revolut requires probably something like, it's not even a percentage; it's a percentage of the surcharge. Getting the
Mm-hmm.
money when you're outside of your home country can be a decent percentage of the amount of money you're going to get from the ATM machine.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Having the ability of using the Revolut application to buy an eSIM is not
Mm-hmm.
the cheapest possible solution, but it is the simplest solution.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to think about anything else, they have a decent amount of countries covered. And as I said, I was comparing the prices. Okay, absolutely the worst possible solution is buying the SIM on the airport.
Okay.
In Croatia, you can actually get good deals on the airport, but
Mm-hmm.
everywhere else that I looked, the airport SIMs were insanely expensive.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to using local providers, it is usually best to actually go and check before you travel to
Mm-hmm.
see if there is an eSIM available.
Mm-hmm.
For example, there is a provider in UK right now that is providing something like 300 gigabytes for 15 pounds per month.
Okay.
And you can upgrade it to unlimited gigabytes per month for 17 pounds. So it's not that it's expensive. In this
Mm-hmm.
particular case, Revolut is expensive. It's much more expensive than the local providers. But
Mm-hmm.
on the other hand, Revolut is actually capable of delivering this configuration to you in 10 minutes or so. You can
Mm-hmm.
just basically click your way through. And if you do it one day before you travel, you're all set as soon as you land.
Yeah, this is a very valuable suggestion. Do it one day before you travel.
Yes, and the other thing is that also the thing that I liked the last time I traveled is that I could exchange the money for the local currency. I could pay with the local credit card, so Revolut was behaving like a local credit card, and then the rest of the money that I wasn't using or that didn't use, I just converted back to my to euros,
The same thing. Yeah,
and
that's
the amount of money that I lost to monetary to costs was negligible.
yeah, it's much cheaper than doing anything with ATMs.
Yes, no, ATMs are insanely expensive.
Yep.
I think that ATMs were something like 100 times more expensive than what I lost when I exchanged money in the Revolut. So uh, this is one thing. Prepare in advance. Try to see where your what to do with the money. Try to do what try to understand what is going to happen with the your phone. Is your phone going to work?
Hmm.
Don't trust the anything that you can see on the airport.
You're going too
don't
far, but yeah.
don't buy a taxi on the airport. Don't buy eSIMs on the airport. Don't buy electronics on the airport. uh, Basically, in the airport, don't do anything.
Just pass through it.
Yes, if possible.
Hmm.
And this is the main advice that I have. The only thing that I wanted to actually mention here is that you should read on the necessities of life or of regular IT person before you travel. So find the bandwidth and find the money.
I would say that also carry some kind of a decent external battery, but that's just me.
Yes, yes, but batteries are, I'm going to say, easier to come by.
Hmm.
On the other hand, there is one thing that I also need to mention, and this is also connected to the quality of the network. We are used to having our batteries last much longer here in Croatia than they do when they were traveling.
Okay.
And the reason is that usually all my whenever I was traveling wherever, since my phone was always trying to find the better signal, and the signal was not that great, my
Hmm.
battery life was basically 80% of what it usually is,
Okay.
or 60% of what usually is.
Hmm.
So I basically lost my battery in the early afternoon. So yes, another battery, or carry a decent charge bank that is capable of supporting you for at least, I don't know, one charge for the laptop and one charge for the phone.
Mm. If you have USB-C charging, of course,
Yes.
on a laptop, which still isn't necessarily the standard.
But it has become it
Yeah, it's
has
becoming,
become
but
a
it's
standard for the
yeah,
last 5 or 6 years. I know that my second generation X1 Yoga has a charger, USB-C charger, and this is what, 7 years old, 8 years old.
yeah, but still, there are quite a few laptops without it.
Okay, because it's cheaper for them, because they don't need to do any additional circuits. They just connect directly to the battery, whatever, and they do it. But anyways, let's finish this thing off.
Okay.
Thank you for sticking with us.
Yeah.
Uh, Thank you for being awake as long as you were.
Hmm.
I'm going to go and
Crash.
no. I'm not going to go and crash. I'm going to gently allow myself into another into the sleep part two for today. And then I'm going to be awoken by my kid in 6 hours or so, because he's getting up early.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is.
No, but I must say that this is the only thing about parenting that I cannot grasp. He's a completely different person than me. I don't function in the morning, and he's completely cheerful and woken up as soon as he opens his eyes. I'm out of evens about
Yeah.
this thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
thank you for being with us, and see you next time.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.